If you've experienced these, they're very painful. And it's when one person invests too much, they're giving more than the other person, like significantly more. So, more effort, more emotional investment, or commitment from one person significantly outweighs the other. This is what a one sided relationship is, and it's very painful. Okay. And this imbalance can be in any type of relationship: brother, sister, mother, father, husband, romantic partner, whatever. So over time, you're going to feel emotionally drained, resentful, and neglected and lonely. You could be in the same room, sleeping in the same bed, and feel completely alone, as I've experienced this. So naturally, it would cause you a lot of frustration and anxiety. And please let me know in the chat if you've experienced these, and are you still in that relationship, or have you walked away? Okay. So now, in the beginning of the relationship, if you would have communicated openly and honestly about what you wanted and needed and your expectations, then the person, you would know pretty soon if this person was able to give as much as you're giving, be present, be available. But typically, my channel is aimed for people who give too much, they're too nice, they're people pleasers, they're perfectionists, and those types of individuals may have the anxious attachment style, and you may even struggle to know what you want, what you need, and if you do, you may feel ashamed. Okay? So, how can you set reasonable expectations and say what you want and what you need when you don't even know what they are, or you're too scared and anxious to even do that? Because you may be like, oh my God, they're going to leave. If I tell them what I want, what I need, they're going to leave. And so you may feel ashamed, or may feel like, you know what, I'm just not going to have any needs. Well, we all have needs. So wanting them to go away isn't going to make them go away. You're just going to be repressing and suppressing them. Okay? So these are a few reasons why we get into these one-sided relationships and we don't kick these people to the curb and walk away, okay? We don't know what we bring to the table. So we are tolerating relationships that don't feel good. People aren't available. People aren't present with us. And maybe because we haven't really had healthy relationships, or we'd rather have some people around than just be alone. So we may tolerate these painful and frustrating dynamics with others where we're not getting back what we're giving. So in relationships, in these one-sided relationships, there's going to be givers and takers. And be honest and let me know, which one are you? Are you a giver or are you a taker? Okay? When we get into these dynamics, okay, the giver needs to really assess, what are they really good at? What are their gifts? What are their resources? Okay? And they need to value those, okay? And they need to be proud of those. Because if we're not proud of them, if we don't even know what they are, if we can't look in the mirror and say, yeah, I can do this, this, and this, and I'm really good at this, this, and this is what I have to offer my relationships, my love relationships, my family, my peers, my job, this is what I have to offer, and own it. Then when you get in these one-sided relationships or just new relationships, you won't be able to communicate what your expectations are, what you want, what you need, what your preferences are, because you won't know what they are. You're going to be too scared to speak up. So you really need to know your value. You need to know what you bring to the table. And I have a guide below that's going to help you know your worth. So check it out below. And I've been working on this stuff for 2 decades, guys, 2 decades. I have my master's in counseling, and I'm a certified practitioner, and you don't have to go through this alone. I remember feeling so alone when I was in a toxic relationship, and I just didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't know how to detach. I didn't know how to make myself feel happy. I didn't know how to meet my needs. I didn't even know what my needs and wants were. So you guys don't have to do this work alone. All right, so the first one, that why we tolerate one-sided and unhealthy bad relationships, is because we don't know what we bring to the table. Number 2 is we're not requiring what we're giving back. So think about all the resources you're giving. And this was like a huge light bulb moment for me when I was able to see all my resources. Okay, your love, your kindness, your care, your energy, your time, your money. Think of these things as resources. And if you're a giver and you're a sensitive person, you're highly empathetic, if you're a pleaser, you probably give these without thinking. And if you do that, you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble, because You may find yourself, oh my God, I'm giving all the stuff and they're not giving me anything in return, and feel resentful. But because we don't really feel secure and really good and solid about what we want and what we need and what we expect, we can't really communicate and stand up for them, can we? How can we communicate and stand up for something either we don't know or we're ashamed of? We can't. So, working on feeling secure in yourself, like truly loving yourself and accepting yourself down to your core, is so important and so fundamental. So, let's see. So, the second one is you're not requiring what you're giving back. That's called reciprocity, and that is normal and natural in healthy, normal relationship dynamics. There's not a giver and a taker. It's just give and take. It's a nice flow. It's not like, okay, well, I paid lunch for you. And the other person's like, okay, well, I'll get you next time. It's not literally like you're counting down the days until they do it. Okay. It's simply like, okay, it's this like nice energy exchange, and you can really feel it. If you get really present, you can feel the flow of energy from you to another person, because everything in life, all it is energy anyways. So notice, tune in to the people who you feel give you tiny little crumbs or barely anything, and see what it feels like. Does it feel like you're around a completely empty person who just has zero to give you? You can feel it because it just feels like nothingness. Okay. And then when you're around people with a healthy dynamic, you'll see this natural flow of give and take in their attention, their time, their energy, and their own resources as they're giving it to you. And it's really beautiful. So just notice and pay attention to that. All right. Number 3 is we're valuing others more than ourselves. Like, put a little thumbs up in the chat if that's you. That used to be me. I used to value other people more than myself, but I had a huge wake-up call, and I realized that I needed to know what I brought to the table. I need to expect what I'm giving, and I need to value myself just as much and actually more than other people, because it's my job to take care of me, and it's your job to take care of you. And the people who raised us did not teach us that, right? We were not taught that. That's why we're expecting other people to make us happy and meet our needs like some Disney freaking movie. That is so unhealthy, guys. And nobody wants that pressure of making you happy. So we have to value ourselves so much that we can require those things that we want and expect them. Like you expect, like, okay, I give you my time, my energy, and I expect this in return. Okay. And if you're the type of person who puts others first, you put their comfort, their wants, their needs, their happiness above yours. Okay. And you may be doing this on autopilot. I have a lot of videos from, you're being too nice, you're playing small. And that's what it has to do with, like, you're really saying to others, I'm not important, but you are. Let me meet your needs, and I hope you will meet mine. I'm just going to give and give and give, and I'm going to try to help you, or I'm going to be the nice person, be a good girl or a good boy. All that is bullshit. Okay. I'm about really living authentically and being who you are. You're never going to be happy being somebody you're not. And I heard a phrase like this, to come home to yourself and to really stop just trying to be nice all the time and really show up as who you are. And there's so much anxiety, so much fear, there's so much doubt that gets in the way that we really need help with. Like I said, this has been 2 decades, guys, for me. So this isn't something that I just woke up and said I wanted to do. This has been like truly blood, sweat, tears, grit that I have been through, okay, to get to this point, to be able to help you guys, okay? So let's ask ourselves, what is the payoff for these one-sided relationships? For me, so I could hide. I never had to risk being vulnerable and saying what I wanted and what I needed because I was too busy taking care of other people and putting their happiness, wants, and needs and comfort above my own. It allowed me to hide and avoid rejection. But at what cost? I felt neglected, ignored, unimportant, not valued. That's going to affect your self-esteem. That's going to affect when you look in the mirror and what you see coming back at you. You're not going to like you because you can't even say, hey, I want this, I need this, and have normal, reasonable expectations, right? Because if you do, the scared part of you is like, oh my God, they're going to leave. They're not going to want me. So it's so much easier to just shut up and make them happy and cross your fingers. They're going to give back to you, but it doesn't work like that. There are givers and there are takers in these relationships. So if you're a giver, unless you wake up to these patterns, nothing will change and your relationships will continue to be a very painful source of suffering, unhappiness, low energy, just continue to make you feel bad because they will. You literally, if you're around someone who's unavailable, they don't pay attention to you. They're probably on their phone more than they're even looking at you. And everything that they're doing is more important than you. They're unavailable. They can't like be in the present moment and emotionally and mentally connect to you. And that's just one example. Okay, so we have to be able to communicate honestly and openly about what we want at the beginning of the relationship. And that's going to be really scary. Set boundaries, okay? What are boundaries? I have so many videos on that. That's just like, what are you okay with, you're not okay with, and things you won't tolerate, okay? Seek support. I was able to heal from my anxious attachment, guys. I worked my ass off to be able to get to where I am today. In a toxic relationship, I was able to heal my anxious attachment, to be secure now, to know my worth, to know my value, to be able to set expectations. I just had a conversation with someone about that today. They wanted my help, and I'm like, well, why should I help you when you're unavailable? When I try to talk to you and you invalidate me. Literally, they'll argue with everything I say, and that's invalidation, and that's actual emotional abuse. Like, well, why should I support you? You don't support me because I expected what I was giving in return. Okay? So, and then we seek support, right? This could be a coach, counselor, this can be reading a book, okay? But it's very hard to wake up to your patterns unless you have someone there helping you see them. We cannot see our blind spots. It's so challenging. That's why getting support from someone who has already walked your path can help you, okay? And then the final was know when to walk away. Like, if you've already been with someone for a while, years, that's years, months of your life wasted. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a partner, but that's going to be one of the most painful patterns is a partner or mother or father who's just, they're unavailable, or they just are nice to you when they want something. They're entitled. They expect what they want without giving anything in return. These are going to be extremely painful relationships. And until we're ready to deal with the fear and the anxiety and just speak up, nothing's going to change. And it's going to take time for you to see if they can step up for you. But I mean, honestly, if this person's been like this for decades, if they're selfish and entitled naturally, you're probably not going to change them. And it may take you walking away for them to wake TF up. Because that's painful. When someone walks away from you and says, I'm done with this, that's painful. And a lot of people will need that pain in order to wake up, to begin to change. But it could take that person a decade because most people, and you guys can tell me your opinion here, that I know that I say are unavailable. Hey, dude, you're unavailable. Hey, girl, you're unavailable. They say, no, I'm not, because they don't know what it is. They can't agree with you because they don't even know what available is. Let's be honest with ourselves. Are we a giver or are we a taker? Do we tend to be selfish or do we tend to be selfless? Be honest. That's the only way you can get anywhere in life is to be honest, guys. So one-sided relationships are very painful. And until the pain becomes more uncomfortable than the fear of losing somebody, okay, nothing's going to change.